The wisdom of ripening. Thank you for joining us again today. Subscribing and leaving a like are the kindest support you can give. What if a whisper ruined the only warm hour in your day? What if kindness turned into a rumor the moment you turned your back? My name is Ruth Miller. I am 63, a woman in Tacoma, Washington. I collect cardboard and bottles before sunrise and sell them for cash. I have done this for 8 years since my husband died in a car crash. This morning I push my rattling cart toward a small salvage yard run by Sam Tate. A quiet man who pays fare and eats alone. Boxes lean against alley walls. I lift them, flatten them with my heel, and stack them neat. The cart grows heavy by 10, and the hill toward Sam's gate feels steep. Sam waves from the scale. He says I made a good haul and counts the bills, then adds a few more. I tell him he miscounted. He says prices moved up. He invites me to eat because eating alone has grown loud lately. I laugh and follow him to the back room. His break space holds a clean table, a small cooker, and a humming fridge. He sets kimchi from a jar, a little beef, and bright spinach. He says he learned to cook after the divorce 15 years ago. I say it tastes like someone else is in the room. He smiles without showing teeth. We eat slowly, the way people do when no one is rushing them. Warm food lifts something in my chest. We trade small stories, a street cat at dawn. A show where the doctor changes his mind about love. We wash the bowls and sit with our hands around cups that still hold heat. When I stand, my knee clicks. He notices. He gives me a medicated patch, pressing it into my palm the way a person returns a lost coin. He also hands me an umbrella because rain smells close. I say thank you twice. On the walk home, the alley looks different. 2 women by the corner store lower their voices when I pass. One tilts her chin toward the yard. The other laughs like lids on a boiling pot. I keep my head down and pull the cart. Inside my room I sit on the bed and listen to rain begin. The patch warms my knee. I remember the quiet table and the tiny click when the cooker was ready. I also remember the women and the small sound their laughter made. Both are true and they do not fit inside me at the same time. At 4 the next morning I wake to the same alarm and ache. I wash my face and drink water. I put on the hat with the bent brim and open the door. I tell myself I will decide about lunch later. Today I will just work. Still, as I tie the rope to the cart handle, I hear the whisper and it scrapes. I imagine it jumping from one mouth to the next like a spark in dry grass. I pull the cart anyway. I am not a rumor. I am a woman who keeps moving. By 10 the load is full again. The gate is ahead. The choice is mine. I see Sam step out to wave. I steady my hands on the cart and speak a sentence inside my breath. Walk in, way up, eat warm, walk out. The rest can wait until tomorrow. Rain hangs low over the alleys, a gray shawl that muffles sound. I pack the cart but steer away from Sam's gate. My chest knows the old route, and still I force a turn. Hoping a new street can hide me from words I did not earn. By noon the cart is full, my pockets light. I sell to another yard where the scale squeals and the man avoids my eyes. He pays exact and pushes back the receipt. It feels clean and it feels cold. 2 days I take the long way home. On the third I see him from half a block. Sam steps out to sweep wet leaves. I pull my hat low and keep walking. He calls my name, gentle, not loud. I turn into an alley, with a faded mural and pallets stacked like a crooked fence. At night I sit by the window as the rain finishes. The phone lights 3 times. I leave it. My knee warms from the patch he gave me, and my throat holds a small stone I cannot swallow. A week passes. I hear my name near the corner store in voices that never ask to know me. I learn the shape of a rumor. It slides under doors. It knocks without hands. It trades pity for thrill. It says a woman my age must be selling more than cardboard. It says a man like him does not give extra bills for nothing. I decide to leave before faces wake. Dawn is a thin bruise when I tie the rope to the cart. I turn down the alley and there he is at the far end, as if the light drew him. Sam lifts one hand, not blocking the way, only asking. I can walk past. I know how. But his face is all question. Ruth, he says, almost a whisper. Is it the talk? I stop because he names it plain. Water drips from a wire between us like beads on a string. I say yes. I say I do not want trouble for him. I say I am tired of being a story on other people's tongues. He steps closer, careful, as if the air is thin. He says we did nothing wrong. He says lunch is lunch, worry is worry, and kindness should not have to hide. He says old loneliness is heavy enough without borrowing shame. I breathe out. The rain smell is clean, metallic and green. I tell him I miss the warm table and the hum of the cooker. I tell him I am afraid. He nods, the way men do when they promise without a contract. Come by, he says. We will eat. We will weigh. Let them talk until their mouths get tired. At the gate the scale wakes with a click. He counts even, adds nothing, keeps the math strict. Because fairness has its own shine. Then he slides a thermos toward me. Soup, he says. Too much for one. I take it, both hands around the heat. Breathing in the steam that smells faintly of garlic and winter greens. The alley looks different, like a path I know. And a path that might still surprise me. I leave by the front, not the back. My steps feel like choices I made myself. The rumor does not dim. It sharpens. One afternoon a boy in a red backpack blocks my cart, his face open and curious. He asks if the thing I sell besides paper is something you can eat. He says he has some allowance saved. His voice is innocent. The words are not. They were handed to him by a world that laughs first and learns later. I turn away so fast the cart bumps the curb. Boxes slide and I barely catch them. Heat moves up my neck. The air feels thin. I pull the cart home and lock the door with both hands. The room is small and quiet and still the whisper finds me. It sits at the foot of the bed, and repeats itself until meaning goes dull and only hurt remains. The phone lights again. I let it go dark. Night brings a fever that licks my skin and turns my breath into sand. By morning the floor tilts when I stand. I drink water. It comes back up. The mirror says my color has left. I lie down and sleep too hard to rest. Someone knocks. A voice I know fills the hall. Ruth, please. I think of the boy. I think of the women by the store. I think of Sam standing in their voices like a post in high water. I do not answer. The knock returns, softer and longer. He says if I do not open, he will call for help. I open because the room is spinning and pride does not break a fever. He takes one look and puts his hand on the frame as if to steady us both. The cab smells like pine cleaner. The hospital lights make the world too clear. A nurse clips my finger and says numbers that feel far away. The doctor says flu and another word for thirst that is worse. An IV blooms in my arm like a slow branch finding water. Sam pays at the desk without counting. He finds an old motel near the clinic, and leaves only to wash and change his shirt. He sits by the bed with his hands folded, quiet as church. When I wake, his eyes look worried and relieved. Like a man who found something he did not admit he lost. Why? I whisper. Because you are my person. He says, simple as that, and the room changes shape. Not romance, not rescue, only one life. Choosing to stand next to another when the wind is up. On the third day the nurse calls me better. Food tastes like food. I sit on the edge of the bed and tile is cool under my feet. Sam helps me dress, not fussy. Not shy, just careful with the sleeve where the bruise blossoms. We ride home in a quieter cab. He opens my door and I step into my air. The room looks the same and not the same. On the table sits a bag with broth, toast, and apples. He writes heating times on the lid in blunt letters, a map through evening. At the door he hesitates, hat in hand. He asks how I will manage rent while I rest. I begin to speak and hear the fear in my own voice. He hears it too. He does not reach for me. He stands where he is and offers words instead. I have an idea, he says. It may be foolish, but I would like to try. His idea arrives like a careful light. The storage room beside the yard is empty, clean, with an east window. I can rest there while I heal, help with sorting when I am steady. Take a small wage, and pay what I can. He says it plain, the way a carpenter measures wood. I think of the corner store women who bend gossip into work, the boy with the red backpack. My rent and the envelopes that want answers. Fear stands up in me. Another voice, made of soup steam and steady hands, asks who I am living for. People will talk, I say. They already do, he answers. Let us give them new words. Next day he brings rags and a broom. We walk to the yard slowly. The room is small, but the window earns its keep. A narrow bed under the sill. A second-hand dresser. A radio with a knob that clicks like a friendly throat. We clean not because it is dirty, but because making a place yours is a kind of prayer. I fold thin shirts and set them like pages. He fixes a hinge and tightens a loose outlet. Beginnings have a ritual. By evening my old room holds only a shadow where the bed was. We roll the cart one last time, loaded with small things that are not small. The bent brim hat. 2 mugs, 1 chipped. A photo of a river I have never seen. When we lock the door I feel a door learning to be a wall. The yard hums different with me inside it. Morning coffee on a hot plate. Sam lifts the gate. We weigh paper, sort glass, tie bundles that make the day feel honest. He teaches stacking so the load rides steady. I save soft cardboard for cat shelters by the alley. A gray cat we both pretend not to watch crawls inside the best one. At noon we eat at the little table, elbows almost touching. He makes stew and I slice apples thin. Sometimes we talk, sometimes we let the radio do it. A caller says the rain will clear by Friday. We nod like the weather asked permission. Afternoons bring the eyes on us, the whispers that try to bend our backs. We keep our spines straight. We cash receipts, count change, help a man tie his bundle. When his hands shake, hand water to a woman who looks like last night did not end well. Kindness becomes the rule and the rule keeps us busy. At dusk he shows me the switch that lights the yard. The bulbs hum and shadows learn new shapes. I carry a crate to the back and he reaches for it the same second. Our fingers touch through air. We do not make a moment out of it. The moment makes itself. That night I sleep by the east window and wake when the sky leans blue. Birds argue happy over the fence. My body aches less. The small courage from yesterday learns to sit up straight. I meet him at the gate. He says good morning like a fact. I hand him the mug with the chip. We do not promise anything grand. We promise to open the gate and make enough decent work to pay for it. One day and then the next. Time teaches the town to look again. A month of steady hours sands the rumor down. People still glance, but their eyes carry groceries and rent and rain. And there is less spare breath for stories that do not earn their keep. We add a small garden behind the fence where the sun holds on. Lettuce takes the lead, then peppers. And a row of beans that climb a spare ladder. I water in the early light while Sam counts change. He brings out a bucket and pretends he will not sing. He sings anyway, low and rusty, good as any radio. Business finds its rhythm. Regulars learn that we weigh fair and speak straight. A man who once smirked now nods. A woman who once whispered brings a bag of cuttings for the garden. And says she is sorry without saying the word. We accept what is useful and let the rest wash away. In the afternoons we sit in the thin shade and share cold tea. Our talk wears soft clothes. We talk about tomatoes and hinges and the old baseball team. Sometimes silence sits between us like a trusted neighbor. When wind lifts the tarp and the light glances off the scale. I hear the life I have now find its melody. One evening he asks if I am happy. The question hangs in the warm air. I think back to the fever and the motel and the first night by the east window. I think of the boy with the red backpack. Hoping someone has taught him better words. I think of my husband's photo in the dresser, the way I touch the frame without guilt now. As if time itself had given permission. Yes, I say, in a quiet way that feels like it will last. He nods, as if the answer fits a space he has been saving. We stack and lock the gate. The street carries the soft rush of evening traffic. Somewhere a dog gives one steady bark, a metronome for ordinary life. We do not talk about forever now. We talk about Wednesday, when the recycler comes early. We talk about Thursday, when the radio host we like will ask callers what they kept and what they let go. I am ready to answer. I kept the part of me that believes in warm tables and clean math. I let go of shame that was never mine. Night arrives. The bulbs over the yard paint circles on the ground. Sam reaches for the crate at the same time I do, and this time our hands stay. The touch is simple, solid, the way a door closes right when the frame is true. Later we carry tea to the back step and watch the garden breathe. A breeze folds over the lettuce and the pepper leaves bump like small boats. He asks if I want to put in onions next season. I tell him yes because onions keep sweetness even when heat asks a lot. I fall asleep to the sound of the gate chain settling. In the dark I hear the city turning pages. I am not a rumor. I am a woman with a key to a yard that opens at dawn. A room that faces east, and a hand I can hold when the wind is up. That is enough, and it feels like grace. If anything in video resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your simple words can become a ripening wisdom that changes someone else's life. If this video reminds you of a family member, friend, or acquaintance, please share it with them. This single video can offer a little comfort and great courage to those who are struggling alone. You can't buy health, but you can hit the subscribe and like buttons, a wise choice you can make right now. If you'd like to join us on this journey of ripening wisdom, be sure to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications. I am truly grateful to be a part of your journey toward a golden, ripening life. Your actions today can create a different tomorrow. Thank you for joining us today at The Wisdom of Ripening. We'll see you in the next video. Always stay healthy and have a day of grace and dignity.